I'm with Nashat Fillemon from the Palestinian Bible Society, and we're talking about the situation in Gaza. How difficult is the situation in Gaza?
Well, thank you, Paul, for this interview. First of all, I want to greet all of the listeners and thank them for their interest in Gaza. The big title for Gaza is No. And you might ask me, what do you mean by that? I say the situation in Gaza is easily explained by no water, no food, no health system, no electricity, no opportunity to leave Gaza, no jobs, very high unemployment rate, and you can continue this no list of things. It's sad and it's heartbreaking, and the people are paying a heavy price and being basically jailed in a big ghetto and prison and cannot come out of it. Either they agree with the political line of the governing body of Gaza or not, doesn't matter. They are there and they're stuck there.
Is life tough for people every day?
I mean, just imagine yourself in a situation as such where you cannot have a job. Even if you have education, you cannot have a job. You cannot have good water, drinking water, You don't have electricity at home, so you cannot do most of the things. I mean, they have electricity only 4 hours a day, and sometimes electricity comes in midnight, so they need to wake up and start doing the washing, start doing all the things, and they have a limited time. Imagine that you are stuck in a place where you cannot leave, even if you want to go and visit somebody, visit some family members outside the Gaza Strip, go to another country for education. It's almost impossible. So life on a daily basis is very hard. I would say people whom we talk to all the time and meet have sadly lost hope. So the biggest challenge is being in a no hope status. And this is the killer, even on the psychological level. This is a very sad situation, being hopeless.
I guess at the same time, it's a constant hopelessness because it never seems to get any better. There's no real hope for the future, is there?
Well, whenever there are talks between the two Palestinian parties in conflict, then people's hope rise up. Whenever there is a discussion or talk about, Hamas, Israel kind of agreement or deal, there is a little bit of hope. But the overall general atmosphere is that there is no hope. And that's why people do not want to wake up from bed in the morning, because there is nothing to do. People don't have any hope for anything, makes you basically dead while you're alive.
Are there a lot of young people in Gaza, and do they feel that sense of hopelessness as well?
Yeah, most of the Gazans are young. I mean, under the age of 21, more than 50%. And the older age have seen better days and had access, had opportunities, most of them. But the younger age know nothing. I mean, more than 20 years of this curfew closure over Gaza. And what do you expect? They don't know anything outside the Gaza Strip. All what they know is that if they want to survive, they have to enroll in one of these, terrible things happening around them, and that's the only way. And if they die, they die. If they live, they live. It's basically gambling your life because you don't have any other alternative.
Is the unemployment rate very large there?
Yeah, and it varies. What we learn is it's more than 30-40%. To that extent, that's what we know. And we need to be reminded that the United Nations agencies also work in Gaza and support some of the families there, but they have been also going through crisis, financial crisis. So some people, even dependent on the United Nations agencies, are now suffering as a result of that. So again, the whole situation is very tangible, very, very, I would describe it, uncertain. What's coming next, and what's going to be the next step, and how it's going to be. People are desperate and live in despair.
I guess it must be very difficult to run a business there as well. If you've only got like 4 hours worth of electricity, you can't really run a business, can you?
Well, absolutely. That's very true. But all those who have the money can maybe buy generators and run a business. But you have to have lots of money for that. And not all people can. and afford such things. So you have few people who are running their own businesses and their own lives, and things are well. But very, very few people, the mass majority of the people are suffering because they don't, cannot secure food at the end of the day to their children and to their families. This is the most worrying thing for many people.
Does that make people desperate and want to do something that maybe you wouldn't normally do?
Without any doubt. Without any doubt. They're willing to, as I mentioned to you, they're dead while they're alive, and people are desperate and are desiring and looking for a change on any level that will bring a little bit of hope.
We've seen demonstrations at the Gaza border with Israel. Is that making things even worse as well than what it was before?
I think demonstrations are a sign of desperation, a sign of being fed up with the situation. Some people have gone there with their full intention. Some others didn't know what's going on, but they participated. All in all, it's a sign that the Gaza Strip is a ticking bomb. And I don't think it would last long this way. Again, the infrastructure cannot take what's going on. The ability for the people to live in normal, even less than a normal life, does not exist. People are totally living in hopelessness and in despair and looking for anything that would save them. That's why any offer you give to them, to the people, I'm talking about individuals, simple individuals, anything, even if it was good or bad, they would take it because they have nothing in their hand.
Is there a big Christian community there, and do they suffer more than the rest?
There isn't a big Christian community. It used to be much bigger several years ago, but now I believe that there is around 1,000 Christians there, and there are 3 churches, the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church, and as well the Evangelical Church. There is also a hospital that belongs to the Anglican with a chapel in it. Now, the Palestinian Christians are part of the larger community and they suffer the same with them. They live in certain areas, in their compounds. They have some activities inside the churches. Yeah, that's the situation of the Christian community, but they also suffer the same thing like the rest of the community in Gaza.
Now, Christians in the West Bank, they get permission to go into places like Jerusalem. Do Gaza Christians get permission?
Gaza Christians sometimes do get permissions. The last Easter, the Israeli authorities said that we will not be able to issue permits to the Gazans because some of them have decided to stay in the West Bank and didn't go back. That was an official announcement that you can refer to by the spokesman of the military that I watched, like the rest of the people. I don't know as a result of that if they actually did issue some permits or not, but I know that they do not issue permits for a whole household, one family. They may issue permits for those who are above a certain age, like 35 or 45, something like that. But beyond that, that's what I know. They get permits on holidays, Christmas and Easter. Sometimes they are allowed to leave, but some other times they decide not to allow them to leave because they don't want them to stay in the West Bank illegally.
So you may have someone in Gaza who has family in Bethlehem, so they need permission to go and see their relatives and their family, so they might only get it once or twice a year, but then they have to leave and then go back to Gaza. They're not allowed to live in Bethlehem?
That is very correct. They need a permit, and if they get it, they could come and visit for a few days, usually a week, 2 weeks maximum, and then they need to go back. Now, those who are looking for a better opportunity to live, the West Bank, which is a Palestinian area still, is a little bit more hopeful than Gaza Strip. So they decide to stay. They decide to settle in the West Bank and try to find a job opportunity, try to link with their relatives and, make life possible. But this is considered by Israel as an illegal move because they've moved and they've changed their address, and this is not allowed. So some of them, if they are captured or caught on checkpoints going from one place to another, even within the West Bank, itself, then they will be deported back to Gaza.
Are the Christians able to be a witness and testimony there in Gaza?
I believe some Christians are trying to be a testimony and witness to Gaza, trying to be the light of Gaza. And this is, as I mentioned to you, and not easy. Yet we believe that the more darkness there is, a little light might make a bigger difference and might change the way it looks. So therefore, I believe that there is hope for Gaza because there is a Christian community there, because there are people who are living their testimony of Christ. And I believe that the churches are doing a great job in helping and aiding the Christian community as well as the Muslim community and their surroundings by being a living testimony, by offering them, services, schooling systems, good education, trying to help also with food parcels for those needy families, trying to aid and assist in the medical need. I didn't mention anything about the medical, but I want you to know that hospitals do not have any medication. So if you're injured or something goes wrong, you go to the hospital. They cannot treat you because they don't have any medication. Some hospitals actually close down because they cannot offer anything to the people. They know what to do, but they cannot do it, which is heartbreaking. So helping a little bit here and there from within the Christian community and the churches being active in the social work, I believe this is bringing a little bit of hope to some of the people who know that this opportunity does exist.
Are there many Christian organizations within Gaza that are ministering to the people?
There are several Christian organizations. I wouldn't call them many. I mean, it's less and less people are interested in Gaza. The Palestinian Bible Society is one of the agencies and organizations that are interested in the Christian community in Gaza and also in aiding and helping the church to be a living testimony to the people around it, to help and support the people in general who are living in Gaza. There are several other agencies and organizations that are working and helping and doing relief and a little bit of community development as much as possible because you cannot develop the community when you don't have the tools, and the sustainable development doesn't have any ground to live in, sadly. Yet at the same time, those small initiatives are making the difference, one person at a time.
Gaza has so much potential, really, doesn't it? It's next to the sea. It could be a great tourist destination, couldn't it?
I mean, it could be turned into an oasis, to a beautiful, touristic area, without any doubt. I mean, it has the potential there. I mean, I cannot deny that it has a beautiful potential, but it's surrounded from inside and from outside. It's a battered area, a very hard line of thinking. It's very sad.
When was the last time you were in Gaza, and how easy is it for you to actually go and visit Gaza?
For me personally, I've been there around 2 years ago. Since then, I haven't been granted a permit to go back to Gaza. I would like to go to Gaza, and we always keep applying, but there is always a deny to our request from the authorities, Israeli authorities. We keep trying. We have some team members from within the Bible Society who continue going there and serving the church and the community there. Now, I don't know what is the reasoning for people being able to go in and not to go in, but I know most of the locals are not able to go to Gaza, and those who have some kind of international status, it might be a little bit easier, but still there is no guarantee. We're thankful for the permits that we have for our members to go to Gaza and to again help and support and be a source of encouragement, and we hope that more from within our team will be able to have access.
Is it important for the Western Church to support the Gaza Christians?
I mean, it's a must, I believe, for the Western Church to realize what's going on in Gaza, to realize that there is a Christian community in Gaza who's suffering on a daily basis, to realize that these Christians are living in Gaza with a minimum, without much, and they need all of the encouragement, all of the prayers, all of the support, financial support, lobbying and advocacy support. And they need to be protected, of course, by God first, but also by the body of Christ, the extended body of Christ everywhere, to know that there are Christians and to speak on their behalf and to raise funds and raise awareness among people and to help and to support this important part of the body of Christ, which is in Gaza. We all know that churches living in under difficult circumstances and situations need special attention. And Gaza is exactly like that. We have Christians who are, imprisoned in Gaza and living among a majority Muslim, 2 million people and 1,000 Christians. So this is a very, very small community that they need lots of support and lots of help.
What's your prayer, finally, for Gaza?
I pray that Gaza, when I look at Gaza, I see that it's surrounded from all sides. It's walled up. Even below Gaza, there are so many tunnels. The only way that is open is up, towards heaven, towards God. I pray that the people of Gaza would lift up their eyes and lift up their hands and heads towards heaven and pray for the living God, that God would deliver Gaza and bring back hope into Gaza. Actually, the Palestinian Bible Society mission statement was changed recently. I changed it recently because I brought in the word hope, life and hope for the Palestinians living in Gaza, life and hope for the Christians living in Gaza. And I pray for the church that it will rise up and it would remind the Christian community and the believing and the seeking community of the reason why do they exist in this place, the calling over their lives, to be a candle and to lighten up other candles within the Gaza Strip so that the whole Gaza Strip would radiate in the light of Christ. I pray that people would be able to live a decent life and dignity with their neighbors. And I pray for peace for Gaza. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and I pray for the peace of the Gaza Strip.
If people would like to help the Palestinian Christians in Gaza, they can do it through the Palestinian Bible Society. What's your website for people who'd like to know more?
They can check our website, pbs-web.com. Again, P for Palestinian, B for Bible, S for Society-web.com. They could also write to us and express their interest in prayers and in support, and we will find ways to get the support to the body of Christ in Gaza.
Okay, Nashat, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. God bless you.